give to poor people.
Mereka tidak boleh ya, si biku itu baru menerima barang-barang langsung diberikan lagi kepada umat lain misalnya, atau kepada pengemis, atau kepada orang-orang yang lain. Jadi barang-barang yang baru terima si biku tidak boleh diberikan lagi kepada orang lain, walaupun misalnya seperti pengemis atau yang membutuhkan.
According to this rule, except one's own mother and father, monks can't give even to Kapyakaraka new things what they have received. Can't give to even to Kapyakaraka, can't give things they newly received.
Bahkan seorang biku tidak bisa memberikan kepada si Kapyakarakanya apa yang baru saja diterimanya,
except if they have used these things. And then, of course, the leftovers they can give to Kapyakaraka, they can give to the beggars, they can give to poor people.
After they use the things.
Leftovers.
Kecuali sisa-sisa barangnya ya, sisa-sisa barangnya bisa diberikan kepada Kapyakaraka atau orang-orang lain yang miskin yang membutuhkan.
Example is, for example, if the monk receives a new towel, after he uses it maybe for 2-3 days, he can give it to Kapyakaraka, he can give it to poor people, he can give it to anyone he likes.
Seperti misalnya bila si biku menerima handuk ya, setelah menggunakannya 2-3 hari dia bisa memberikan kepada Kapyakaraka atau kepada orang-orang miskin yang membutuhkan.
Therefore now, with the example of the soaps, if a lot of soaps get accumulated in the monastery, the monks, they know that these soaps are going to be not used, and it will be maybe destroyed. So then he can, through the Kapyakaraka, recycle them and get some other things which monks can use.
Misalnya tadi contoh ini sabun ini ya, mereka tahu ini sabunnya jumlahnya udah berlebihan ya, jadi bisa dengan cara ini seorang Kapyakaraka merecycle ya daunnya diganti dengan barang-barang yang lain, kebutuhan yang lain.
So then this is the middle path which the Buddha laid down for monks to follow, and to avoid extremes of practice, because many people they lose faith if monks they become too greedy for money, becoming more rich after they become monks, and they lose the faith, they question what is the value of us offering to monks who are so rich.
Jadi ini adalah jalan tengah yang ditetapkan Sang Buddha ya. Jadi bila kalau seorang umat awam, kalau bila bikunya menggunakan uang, si umat awam bisa kehilangan keyakinannya ya, apa manfaatnya kita memberikan si biku menjadi semakin kaya ya, hartanya bertambah, dan mereka bertanya apa manfaatnya kita memberikan kepada biku yang kaya yang punya banyak uang. Umat bisa kehilangan keyakinannya.
So then that is a brief explanation from my part. Of course, there are many more things to be told about this, so I don't want to go deep into the matter. Up to now, we will limit our talk to this point. If anybody has to ask any question, we can ask.
Jadi sebenarnya banyak hal-hal mendalam yang bisa dibahas di hal ini ya, tapi nanti akan membatasi ya sampai di sini dan memberikan kesempatan bagi kita untuk tanya jawab.
Why? But if a monk have a much robe, what to do monk for this robe?
Bila seorang biku memiliki banyak jubah ya, jadi apa yang harus dilakukan dengan jubah ini? If a monk possesses many robes, so what can he do with the robes?
Yes, I have given an example with the soaps. Robes also the same. He has to approach the Kapyakaraka and tell him, we have so many robes. We don't need them. So we can't afford to keep these robes here in the monastery. So but we need to build a new kuti, we need to build something new library. So, and this is more useful for us. We can't use these ropes anyhow. So now the Kapya Karaka who hears that the monk need new kuti, they need new library, they need books. So then he has to supply them with his needs. That is his job. Therefore, he has to think, okay, now we have the ropes here, but we don't have books, we don't have a kuti. The Kapya has to think, and can take the ropes, go to the shop, sell them, take the money, and then he can collect all the money and to build a new kuti, or to build a new library, to print books for the monks to read. This is allowed.
Jadi seperti yang cara disebutkan ini, seorang biku bisa memberitahu Kapya Karakanya, jubah kita berlebihan, tidak membutuhkan jubah ya. Jadi si Kapya Karaka bisa pergi ke toko dan menjualnya, dan jadi digunakan untuk kebutuhan si biku. Kita butuh kuti, kita butuh perpustakaan. Nah, ini si Kapya Karaka yang menyediakannya untuk si bikunya. Ada lagi, silakan.
Apakah seorang biku diperkenankan untuk menolak pemberian dari umat nanti?
Jadi pertanyaannya, apakah seorang biku diperkenankan menolak pemberian dari umatnya? Berarti the question is lay people can a biku refuse the offering from a lay people? Can a biku, seorang biku menolak ya? Can a biku refuse the offering from the lay people?
Of course, you can refuse.
Itu saja.
Now, if, for example, the layman offers a bottle of whiskey, the monk has to refuse it.
Saja bisa menolak ya, seperti misalnya seorang awam menawarkan sebotol whisky, ya si biku harus menolaknya.
But it is not only with whiskey. If the layman wants to offer more than the monk needs, then monk has to tell him, I can't afford to take this, I don't need this.
Bukan hanya whisky ya, tapi misalnya seorang awam menawarkan lebih daripada yang dibutuhkan oleh si biku ya, si biku harus menolaknya ya, saya tidak membutuhkan ini, demikian.
Therefore now the monk has to exercise moderation, matanya, in everything he uses, everything he receives.
Jadi seorang biku harus berlatih secukupnya ya, makannya atau menggunakan secukupnya ya, apa aja yang dibutuhkan secukupnya.
You should know the measure, moderation, how to stop, how much he needs. If he does not take more than that, he has to refuse.
Jadi si biku harus tahu kapan berhenti ya, berapa banyak yang dibutuhkan. Bila lebih dari itu dia harus menghentikannya.
Because a monk has not become a monk to accumulate material things. He must know how to stop.
Seorang biku tidak menjadi biku untuk mengumpulkan benda-benda materi ya, dia harus tahu kapan berhenti menerimanya.
And the same with the rope. The monk have a much rope, and the people give the rope to the monk. Can the monk refuse?
Of course.
Sama seperti jubah ini ya, bila banyak umat yang memberikan jubah, bisakah si biku menghentikannya?
We have in the sutras also monks who have been offered robes even by kings sometimes. And they will tell, my robes are complete. They don't tell the king, don't give me, but they tell it, my robes are complete.
Jadi ada di suta ya, seorang raja mendanarkan jubah kepada si biku. Ya si biku bukan berkata jangan berikan jubah, tapi si biku biku berkata jubah saya sudah cukup. Ya, jadi tidak berkata saya tidak menerima jubah, tapi berkata jubah saya sudah cukup.
So that is a polite way to refuse. You don't tell, don't give me, don't do that. Just to tell it, my robes are complete.
Ini cara yang sopan ya untuk menolaknya ya, bukan berkata jangan berikan ini, jangan berikan itu, tapi jubah saya sudah cukup.
Why with the moment of a Kantina celebration, people give the monk robes, many robes.
Kenapa pada saat Kantina banyak umat yang memberikan banyak jubah ya, sangat banyak jubah kepada si biku ya.
So then, yes, it is actually troublesome.
Ya ini sebenarnya menyusahkan gitu, menyusahkan.
So therefore now I know some meditation centers in Sri Lanka, they stopped doing cutting ceremonies.
Saya tahu beberapa tempat meditasi di Sri Lanka mereka menghentikan ya perayaan Kantina ini.
They will, because it disturbs the whole month for the meditation program, for everything.
Ini menjadi gangguan bagi keseluruhan program meditasi bagi para biku, itu menjadi gangguan.
So therefore, in that monasteries, usually they will tell the monks if they need something to write on the paper. So and they will give this paper to the lay people, and they will bring only these items which monks need, no more than that.
The monks write in the paper. The monks write in the paper.
They write the paper what things they need, and then the lay people will bring only these items, nothing more than that.
Jadi si biku kadang mencatat ya kebutuhannya di kertas ya, dan si umat awam mendanakannya sebanyak yang dicatat yang dibutuhkan oleh si biku tersebut.
Therefore, the monasteries free of all this mess, of robes and soaps and detergent powders and I don't know what.
Jadi di monasteri ini akan bebas dari segala kekacauan ini ya, berlebihan jubah, berlebihan sabun ya dan sebagainya.
Easy to move inside the monastery, not crowded.
Lebih gampang ya bergerak dalam monasterinya yang tidak terlalu padat gitu.
So, but in other monasteries, of course, they do the other way around. So they encourage people to bring as much as possible.
Dan juga ya monasteri, wihara yang lain yang menyemangati ya, mendorong supaya memberikan sebanyak-banyaknya kepada mereka.
Therefore, moderation is out of the window. They don't care about moderation. Moderation means to know when to stop, they don't know that. Another message.
Jadi yang paling baik adalah yang secukupnya ya, tahu kapan berhentinya. Ada lagi pertanyaannya? Ya.
Sekarang Pak, untuk kantina itu sudah jadi kebiasaan Pak ya. Terus umat itu saya lihat masih terus ya Pak ya, sampai ada undangan segala macam. Kalau udah kita dengar Bante ini membicarakan bahwa sebenarnya kantina itu sebenarnya jangan Pak ya, tidak perlu. Bagaimana untuk menjelaskan ke umat itu bahwa itu banyak pelanggaran-pelanggaran?
So the lady asks, now this Kantina ceremony becomes a habit, becomes a habit. So everywhere they do this. So how to explain to the lay people that, based on what Bante explained, how to explain to the lay people that these many offenses in this ceremony?
Offenses?
Yes. There are many problems in this Kantina ceremony.
So, of course, now it becomes a tradition in many places, and it's like a festival. It's like becomes a festival.
Jadi seperti jadi tradisi seperti satu festival ya, seperti perayaan gitu.
So, like Hindus, they celebrate the what's called Deepavali.
Seperti orang Hindu merayakan Dipawali begitu ya.
Like Christians celebrate Christmas.
Seperti orang Kristen merayakan Natal gitu ya.
So, with many lights and fancy things around.
Dengan banyak cahaya dan barang-barang yang mewah.
So, people they like it.
Dan orang-orang menyukainya gitu ya.
So then, of course, but monks also contribute for it, contribute for lay people to like it. They are also, monks like it more than lay people.
Para biku juga berkontribusi ya, bahkan kadang-kadang para biku lebih menyukainya daripada si umat awam.
Therefore now, we usually encourage people, if they really want to accumulate merit during this period of time, they can offer in a moderate way whatever they like to offer. But the real merit, it is to also participate in practicing meditation, in protecting the sila. If they come to the monastery, they can devote several hours, spending some time either practicing Buddhanusati, Dhammanusati, Sanghanusati, Sikhanusati, practice some kind of meditation, because that is the way to get a very high kind of merit.
Kita bisa mendorong orang-orang ya dengan memberikan yang berdana yang secukupnya ya, tapi ada kebajikan yang lebih tinggi lagi, yaitu dengan melaksanakan ya, dengan datang ke monasteri ya, melaksanakan meditasi ya dengan Buddha Dusati, Dhammanusati, Sanghanusati ya. Jadi melaksanakan meditasi itu adalah kebajikan yang paling lebih tinggi ya, atau paling tinggi.
Now, this Kathina ceremony is conducted in the end of the rainy season, and usually people, they conduct it because for 3 months the monks are supposed to be retreat, 3 months, and that retreat is supposed to be a meditation retreat for 3 months. So therefore, if really the people want to celebrate the occasion and to respect the monks, to honor the monks, so of course they can offer some small things to them, but at the same time it is a good opportunity for them after the rainy season, because the lay people, they don't take retreats. It is good opportunity for them, if they go to the monastery, also to participate in some meditation course, maybe for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and also they also test how the practice of meditation is. That is a very high benefit.
Jadi baik Kathina sebenarnya sehubungan dengan musim hujan ya, musim hujan. Jadi si biku selama 3 bulan menetap ya, melaksanakan retreat ya, meditasi. Nah setelah itu ya mungkin si umat awam boleh mendanakan sedikit ya, beberapa bahan yang secukupnya. Tapi lebih baik lagi mereka ikut ya dalam ini, mereka menetap di wihara 2 atau 3 kali, jadi 2 atau 3 hari, dan bisa merasakan ya, bisa mempraktekkan apa yang dilakukan oleh si biku ya. Mereka bisa meditasi selama 2-3 hari, itu adalah kebajikan yang paling tinggi. Ada lagi silakan.
Bante, what the Bante suggests for us, we do the Kathina celebration or not?
Berarti apa yang Bante usulkan kepada kami ya, dan kita melakukan Kathina atau tidak?
So now, for to conduct a Kathina ceremony, there are certain factors, certain conditions which have to be fulfilled.
Untuk melakukan perayaan Kathina ada beberapa faktor yang harus dipenuhi.
So, one main factor is that there should be a monk spent in vihara 3 months retreat.
Faktor utama adalah ada seorang biku yang menetap ya di sebuah wihara selama 3 bulan untuk retreat gitu.
And the most ideal way is to have at least 4 months to spend the rains retreat in one place.
Yang paling ideal adalah menghabiskan 4 bulan ya di satu tempat itu untuk retreat. Oh, four months.
Ideal way.
Ideal way is
Become sangha.
oh become sangha ya. 4 months ya. Ya, untuk menjadi sangha adalah 4 orang biku.
The
Ya.
best way.
The best way ya. Cara yang terbaik adalah 4 biku. Gitu, ya.
So in this month should have not broken the earlier what's called rains retreat. The earlier is called starts the first rains retreat for 3 months.
Jadi seorang biku tidak boleh pecah ya, itu awal masa retreatnya ya, selama 3 bulan itu tidak boleh pecah gitu.
So then only these months are privileged to conduct the Vinaya Karma in order to get Katina privileges.
Jadi dengan cara demikian si biku itu punya hak istimewa ya untuk melaksanakan Vinaya Karma, untuk membuka Katina.
So now, as far as I know, in this place here in Saptamangala Vihar, so monks usually don't spend the rainy season.
Panjang yang Bate tahu, di Sadamanggala ini tidak ada biku yang menghabiskan musim puasanya di sini ya, menghabiskan puasanya di sini.
So how is it possible for you to conduct Katina ceremony in this place?
Bagaimana mungkin bisa menyelenggarakan Katina di sini?
So you can conduct Sangadana.
Yes.
So but you can't call this Katina ceremony.
Bisa disebut Sanggadana tapi tidak bisa disebut perayaan Katina.
You can invite monks from other place to conduct Sangadana, but that won't be Katina ceremony.
Bisa mengundang biku yang mengadakan Sanggadana tapi tidak bisa mengadakan Katina. Maybe we go to the questions written before. We go to the questions. Questions.
There is another file. Aniyata. You want to speak about this? Aniyata. You told me about this first. Aniyata.
Oh iya ya, ternyata maybe
Maybe later or I don't know.
maybe we go to the question first ya.
Okay. Yes, number one. We already answered this. We already answered this question. The number one. So then it says, can Katina be opened in a place where there is no bhikkhu for rains retreat, for example, the vihara, convention, or hall, mall? So then we already answered this question, and I told that there is no way to conduct a Katina ceremony when there are no monks living during the rainy season.
Itu pertanyaan pertama, bisakah Katina dilakukan di tempat tidak ada biku berwasa, di wihara, gedung pertemuan atau mall? Jadi sudah dijawab tadi ya, tidak bisa diselenggarakan, tidak ada cara untuk menyelenggarakannya.
Now the second question is, what is the right procedure for bestowing the Katina robe to a monk who will do the spreading of the Katina?
Dan kedua, bagaimanakah proses penyerahan jubah Katina yang sesuai dengan Vinaya kepada biku yang akan membuka Katina?
So for lay people, it is a very simple procedure.
Untuk umat awam bisa.
For lay people, it's very simple procedure. Simple, very simple procedure.
Ini adalah untuk bagi umat awam, ini adalah prosedur sebagai simbolis.
So now to offer the robe, Katina robe, to the monk, it is not difficult thing.
Untuk mempersembahkan jubah ini kepada biku bukan hal yang sulit.
So then, usually in the early morning, the dawn time, around the dawn time, before sunrise. So a Dayaka, a donor, can approach the monks who spend the rainy season at Vihara and tell some gatha or something like that, that he offers this robe as a katina robe for the monks who spend the rainy season there.
Di pagi subuh ya, seorang dayaka bisa mendekati si biku ya, dan dengan satu gatha menyatakan dia ingin mendatangkan jubah untuk katina.
So the monks can accept it, and that because the layman tells us a katina robe, on that ground the monk can accept it a katina robe. Because the donor tells us a katina robe, the monks can accept it as a katina robe.
Karena si donor, pendonor itu menyatakan ini sebagai perdana jubah katina, maka dia si biku menerimanya sebagai jubah katina.
So then, now the monks can give a thanksgiving anumodana to the lay people and give a small tomato or like that is up to them.
Kemudian sebagai ucapan terima kasih ya, si biku boleh mengucapkan anumodana gatha ya, atau memberikan sedikit ceramah dhamma kepada mereka, ya terserah mereka.
And then later on the monks had to conduct the Vinaya Kama in order to give this katina robe to another monk who can distribute the katina privileges among them.
Jadi selanjutnya si biku harus melaksanakan winaya kama ya, karena dia pergi ke biku-biku lain dan
distribute the katina privileges.
Mendistribusikan hak istimewa katina ini.
They tell sometimes spread, but it's not about spreading, about distributing.
Ditulis di sini menyebar ya, tapi sebenarnya ini mendistribusi gitu ya.
That is also a very simple ceremony. The whole procedure may last about 10 minutes.
Ini juga sebenarnya suatu simbolis ya, seluruh prosedur cuma sekitar 10 menit.
So then, of course, it can last longer if there are many months, maybe 10 months, 20 months, 30 months. Then it can last longer.
Bila lebih banyak biku ya berarti bisa lebih lama, bisa 10 atau 20 biku ya jelas lebih lama.
So therefore, it is not complicated, but nowadays it become from year to year becomes more complicated.
Tidak rumit ya, tapi sekarang dari tahun ke tahun menjadi semakin rumit. Complicated.
As I told you, it becomes like a festival.
Seperti menjadi suatu perayaan ya, seperti satu festival gitu. Sebenarnya hal-hal yang sederhana ya, seperti tadi sekarang menjadi seperti perayaan gitu.
Di Sri Lanka they bring elephants also.
Sri Lanka bahkan mereka membawa gajah gitu ya.
And then they adorn the elephants, very colorful colors.
Mereka menghiasi gajahnya dengan warna-warni demikian.
And they bring drums.
Mereka membawa drum ya.
And they will be dancing.
Ada tari-tarian juga gitu.
So then, and also these trumpets,
Ada trompet juga di situ ya.
loudspeakers. So sometimes they put also pop music.
Kadang-kadang musik pop juga ya di situ.
So then, therefore, the new technology give monks and lay people to make it a big festival.
Dengan perkembangan teknologi membuat ya biku dan umat awam membuat satu perayaan yang besar-besaran.
Actually, the ceremony might start 1 week before the real day of the Katina ceremony.
Kadang-kadang bahkan seminggu sebelum perayaan Katina itu dimulai, perayaannya udah dimulai gitu ya.
7 days, for 7 days, the whole Bihar will be music. 7 days before the Katina ceremony, they will start 7 days before.
Sebelum hari Katinanya, bahkan 7 hari sebelumnya perayaannya udah dimulai.
So therefore now the whole area from afar you can hear music going on around the vihara.
Jadi dari jauh pun sudah kedengaran musiknya ada di wihara.
That is to attract people.
Untuk menarik orang-orang maksudnya.
So to attract people so that they can prepare to bring more ropes into the hand.
Dari orang-orang supaya bawa sebanyak mungkin jubah datang ke wihara.
So then, even after the Katina ceremony finishes, still the music go on.
Setelah Katina pun musiknya masih berlanjut terus.
So this is how the Katina is conducted today, in a very complicated way.
Inilah cara yang demikian komplikasi ya, rumit Katina diselenggarakan pada masa sekarang.